What's hatching, Toga peeps? Tuppleton coming at you today. 4 days left in the countdown to Pokemon X and Y. So, woot woot. And today, to celebrate 4 days remaining until X and Y's release, we are going to do episode 4 of Indigo Blues. So, here we go. Episode 4 of the Indigo Plateau series is called Challenge of the Samurai. And Samurai is a very interesting character, and it makes me sad that, as far as I know, he was never reintroduced after this episode. Because he does say at the end that he will see Ash to fight him again. Like the beginning of every episode, there's a 5-minute recap, and this recap seemed particularly long, and it really kills the episode before it starts, which is sad because it's actually a half-decent episode. But, this is going to be, in this episode, the first instance of where Pikachu refuses to battle a Pokemon after the Viridian City incident. Because before that, Pikachu refused to do anything that Ash said. So, and it's interesting because this is a very, he does it in a very Japanese way. Which, is to be expected 4 episodes into a Japanese cartoon. What does Ash see? A Weedle. Ash sees a Weedle, pulls out Dexter, and Dexter pulls out another pun. Quite pungent pun at that. And I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's like, Weedle, the stinger on its head makes sure that the opponent will get the point. Wink, wink. So, yeah. After that, it says, like, it's dangerous, beware it poisons you. And Ash is like, oh boy, a Weedle. And Ash was able to identify Weedle before he pulled out his Pokedex, which is, like, rare. So yeah, Ash is like, yay, Pikachu, let's battle! And he looks back and Pikachu, in Japanese style, is sprawled out on the ground, head on a pillow, with what we're going to call a quilt style blanket pulled up over him, and he's like, oh no, sorry, taking a nap. And then Ash is like, WTF, and sends out Pidgeotto instead. And that's actually a really good type matchup, Ash. I don't know how you pulled that one off. It's not like it wasn't discussed in the past episode or something. But, yeah. Anyways, Ash battles this Weedle and is about to catch it when I'm getting into a recap. But Samurai shows up. He actually jumps Misty in the woods because Misty runs away and is like, oh my god, bugs. Oh my god. And Samurai jumps out at her, swings his sword right in her face, hi-ya, and asks if she's from Pallet, that he's looking for a trainer from Pallet Town. And Misty's like, oh my god, that's Ash. I better go find him and warn him. Well, before Misty makes it back, Samurai hi-ya's Ash, puts the blade of his sword right in his nose, and she's like, oh, I want to battle you. Okay. So Ash is like, oh my god, I forgot about Weedle. And by the time he sees Weedle, throws a Pokeball, Weedle is escaped. And this is one of my favorite episodes, because in Gary Oak fashion, freaking Samurai just calls Ash Novice the whole freaking episode. And that's hilarious. He's like, oh, Novice, you suck today, Novice. Your Metapod isn't very hard, Novice. Sex joke there, guys. Yeah. But anyways, that's pretty cool. We see Pinsir introduced in this episode. And, Pinsir fights Pidgeotto, and of course, Ash throws a Pidgeotto out right after battling freaking Weedle. And apparently battling Weedle is enough to tire out Pidgeotto. And Pinsir just whoops shit on Pidgeotto. And then you have Ash throws out Metapod, and Metapod defeats Pinsir without doing anything besides hardening. Lol. And then, one of the most epic showdowns in all of the Pokemon anime ever happens right after the Who's That Pokemon, which is Metapod. What happens? Metapod versus Metapod showdown. And an entire 3-minute stretch of the episode just turns into one giant sexual innuendo. And I mean, it was probably intended to be that way in Japan because it's Japan. But I know it wasn't supposed to be that way in America, but with the way the moves are, and they could have changed the dialogue a little bit to make it sound less terrible. But for like 3 minutes, all Ash and Samurai are doing are telling Metapod, use Harden. You can go a little bit harder. Maximum hardness. He's about to give in. Go even harder. I mean, it was terrible 3 minutes of my life I'll never get back. But yeah. They never actually finished the battle. Beedrill interrupts. Samurai is like, the Weedle was told Beedrill and they're coming to kick our ass. So yeah. Beedrill steals Metapod before Ash can recall it. And they have to run to Samurai's house. The Beedrill actually punch a hole with its stinger in the door as they close it behind them. And they buzz around and take off, and yeah. And this leads us to a very strange point in the episode, which doesn't happen. Another thing this episode has that doesn't happen very often is Ash is sitting there thinking about how his Metapod was taken, and, well, actually, Samurai tells him he's a douche novice for letting his Pokemon be taken. How could he do that? He abandoned it. And Ash has a sincere, heartfelt moment. Oh, how could I let this happen? It wasn't someone else's fault. It's my fault. And Ash actually, what I write down for that? Ash grows as a 10-year-old, slightly. Trust me, it doesn't last long. And he claims responsibility for his mistake. He goes, sneaks in, gets his Metapod, which is surrounded by Kakuna at that point. And he gets his Metapod, and he tells Metapod, I'm sorry, I love you. Snuggle, snuggle, kiss, kiss. And this is, as far as I remember, the only instance where we actually see a Metapod move in like the rest of the entire series. Ash is about to get attacked by a Beedrill. Metapod refuses to go back into its Pokeball and leaps out of Ash's hand in front of the Beedrill that is swinging down to attack Ash. It breaks off one of its hands, one of its needle fist things. One of Beedrill's needle fist things, and the Beedrill takes off, and then a huge swarm of Beedrill comes flying down. Well, from the whole... This is going to be a spoiler, so if you don't want it, stop right now, because this is a pivotal moment in all of the Indigo Plateau series. The hole that the needle thing slivered in Metapod's back begins glowing, and friggin' Butterfree comes out, and shit goes nuts at this point. And, here's another thing that doesn't happen very often with Ash. As soon as Butterfree evolves, Ash knows a move that it gets upon evolution. That doesn't happen often. Usually Ash gets told all this shit by Brock or Misty or May or Max or Dawn or Iris or the hell's that green-haired fag's name? Charon? Silent? No. I don't care. He's dumb. Ash shows knowledge of a Pokemon that evolves. What were we talking about? We were talking about the green-haired fag, weren't we? Yeah. I think it's Silent. But yeah. Ash tells Butterfree to use sleep powder. And Butterfree puts the entire freaking swarm of Beedrill to sleep. So the ground is just littered with Beedrill. And Ash is like, well, maybe we should catch one. No. He's like, yeah, whatever. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, Samurai's like, oh, you showed such great skill with Butterfree after it evolved. You're awesome. And I'm just like, oh my god, dude, you're so terrible. And that's where he says, oh, we'll battle again someday. And I don't think it ever happens. So, yeah, whatever. All in all, what did I rate the last episode? Last episode was 5 out of 5, and that was Ash Catches a Pokemon. I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. Just because of, aside from the 5-minute recap, it is a fairly good episode, which, I mean, not ultimately important towards character development at all, besides getting Butterfree. But, I mean, it teaches basic moral lessons, like, oh, live up to your responsibilities, Ash, idiot. But yeah, so anyways, next episode is, I don't know. I'm trying to think if next episode is the Clefairy episode, or if it's Brock. I don't know. It's there somewhere. Whatever episode 5 is, that'll be next. Alright guys, this has been Tuppleton with the 4th episode of Indigo Blues. And we are 4 days away from Pokemon X and Y. But, as always, catch you on the flip side, guys. Peace out.